Hello, and welcome to this space of calm and reflection. If you're here, it's likely because you're searching for something, a way to feel lighter, more at ease, or perhaps just a moment of peace in the midst of life's chaos. You've found yourself in the Mindful Zone, a place where we explore tools and practices to nurture your mind, body, and spirit. Today we're embarking on a journey inspired by Buddhism, meditation, and mindfulness. A journey about letting go of what weighs you down. Letting go can sound simple, but if you've ever tried to release a worry, a regret, or even an attachment to how things should be, you know it's not always easy. Life has a way of pulling us in countless directions, filling our minds with noise and clutter. We hold on to expectations, fears, and stories that no longer serve us. And while these burdens may feel necessary or unavoidable, they often keep us stuck, preventing us from experiencing true freedom and joy. That's where Buddhism comes in. For thousands of years, its teachings have offered profound insights into the nature of suffering and liberation. At its core, Buddhism invites us to examine our attachments, the things we cling to, and recognize how they shape our experience of life. It doesn't ask us to deny pain or hardship. Instead, it shows us how to meet life with wisdom, compassion, and equanimity. Meditation and mindfulness are two powerful practices rooted in Buddhist tradition. Meditation gives us a way to quiet the mind and connect with our inner selves, while mindfulness helps us stay present, fully engaged with the richness of each moment. Together, they form a toolkit for navigating life's challenges with greater clarity and grace. This video is designed to be both warm and accessible, whether you're new to these ideas or already familiar with them. Over the next 2 hours, we'll explore 10 chapters, each focusing on a different aspect of letting go and how it can transform your life. Along the way, I'll guide you through reflections, exercises, and practical tips to help you integrate these teachings into your daily routine. As you watch, I encourage you to approach this as a practice rather than a performance. There's no need to get it right or rush through anything. Instead, allow yourself to settle into the rhythm of the video. Take breaks if you need to, pause and reflect, or simply let the words and visuals wash over you. This isn't about perfection, it's about presence. Before we move forward, take a deep breath with me. Inhale slowly, hold it for a moment, and exhale gently. Feel your body softening, your mind beginning to settle. Imagine setting aside whatever feels heavy right now, even if only for the duration of this video. You don't have to figure everything out today, just show up as you are and trust that this journey will unfold naturally. Over the next few minutes, we'll dive into our first chapter, which explores the very concept of letting go. What does it mean to release what weighs us down? How can we begin to loosen our grip on the things that cause us stress or suffering? These are big questions, but they start with small steps. So let's take a moment to ground ourselves once again. Breathe deeply, and when you're ready, we'll begin. Chapter 1. What does it mean to let go? Letting go is one of those phrases we hear often, but what does it really mean? When someone tells us to let go, it can feel abstract or even frustrating. After all, how do you release something that feels so deeply ingrained in your life, whether it's a worry, a regret, or an attachment to a particular outcome? To truly understand letting go, we need to break it down and explore it from multiple angles, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. At its essence, letting go means freeing ourselves from the grip of attachments, the things we cling to out of fear, desire, or habit. These attachments come in many forms. They might be material possessions, like holding on to clothes that no longer fit because they remind us of a certain time in our lives. Or they could be emotional patterns, such as replaying past mistakes in our minds or obsessing over future uncertainties. Sometimes these attachments are subtler, like clinging to an identity or a role, believing we must always be strong, successful, or perfect to be worthy of love and respect. In Buddhism, attachment is seen as the root cause of suffering. This teaching comes from the second noble truth, which explains that much of our pain arises not from external circumstances themselves, but from our resistance to them. For example, imagine losing a job. The event itself is challenging, but the real suffering comes when we resist accepting it, when we dwell on feelings of failure, fear about the future, or resentment toward others. By contrast, when we let go of our resistance and open ourselves to the present moment, we create space for healing and growth. But here's the important part. Letting go doesn't mean giving up or suppressing our emotions. It's not about pretending everything is fine when it isn't. Instead, it's about acknowledging our experiences without being consumed by them. Think of it like this. If you're carrying a heavy backpack full of rocks, setting it down doesn't erase the fact that the rocks exist. It simply means you're no longer burdened by their weight. Similarly, when we let go of attachments, we're not denying reality, we're choosing to relate to it differently. So, how do we begin to loosen our grip on these attachments? One way is to cultivate awareness. Often we're so caught up in our thoughts and emotions that we don't even realize we're holding on. Mindfulness plays a crucial role here. By paying attention to our inner world, our thoughts, feelings, and bodily sensations, we start to notice where tension resides. Maybe you'll discover that every time you think about money, your chest tightens. Or perhaps you'll recognize a recurring pattern of criticizing yourself after making a mistake. Awareness is the first step toward change, because once we see what's happening, we have the power to respond differently. Another key aspect of letting go is understanding impermanence. In Buddhism, impermanence, or anicca, is one of the three marks of existence, along with suffering, dukkha, and non-self, anatta. Everything in life is constantly changing. Seasons shift, relationships evolve, and even our own bodies transform over time. Yet, despite this universal truth, we often cling to the illusion of permanence. We want happiness to last forever, success to remain constant, and loved ones to never leave us. While these desires are natural, they set us up for disappointment because nothing stays the same indefinitely. When we embrace impermanence, we begin to see life as a flow rather than a series of fixed states. Imagine watching a river. You wouldn't expect the water to stop moving. It's the movement itself that defines the river. Life works the same way. Change is inevitable, and resisting it only creates unnecessary struggle. Letting go then becomes an act of trust. It's trusting that even though things may not turn out exactly as we planned, there's still beauty and possibility in the unfolding. Of course, letting go is easier said than done, especially when it comes to deeply ingrained habits or painful memories. That's why it's helpful to approach it gradually. Start small. Notice moments throughout your day when you're holding on too tightly. Perhaps it's insisting on controlling every detail of a project at work, or needing everyone to agree with you during a conversation. In those moments, ask yourself, what would happen if I relaxed my grip just a little? What might I gain by allowing things to unfold naturally? Sometimes letting go involves surrendering to forces beyond our control. This can be particularly difficult in a culture that values productivity, achievement, and self-reliance. We're conditioned to believe that we should always strive harder, push further, and take charge of every situation. But there's also wisdom in knowing when to step back and allow life to take its course. Surrender isn't weakness, it's strength. It takes courage to admit that we can't control everything, and that's okay. One practical exercise for practicing letting go is visualization. Close your eyes and picture yourself holding onto something symbolic, a rope, a bag, or maybe a handful of sand. Feel the weight of it in your hands. Now imagine slowly releasing it. Watch as it drifts away, carried off by the wind or dissolving into the earth. As you do this, notice any sensations in your body. Do you feel lighter, freer? Visualization exercises like this can help train your mind to associate letting go with relief and spaciousness. It's also worth noting that letting go isn't a one-time event. It's a continual process, a practice that unfolds over days, weeks, and years. Just as weeds grow back in a garden unless tended to regularly, old attachments can resurface unless we remain vigilant. But with patience and persistence, letting go becomes second nature. Over time, you'll find that you carry less baggage, not because life has become easier, but because you've learned to navigate it with greater ease. Finally, remember that letting go isn't about becoming detached or indifferent. On the contrary, it allows us to engage more fully with life. When we stop clinging to specific outcomes, we open ourselves to unexpected opportunities. When we release the need to control, we make room for spontaneity and joy. And when we forgive ourselves and others, we deepen our capacity for connection and love. In essence, letting go is an act of generosity to ourselves and to the world around us. It's saying yes to the present moment, even when it's messy or uncertain. It's choosing freedom over fear, curiosity over judgment, and flow over rigidity. As we move forward into the next chapters, keep this idea of letting go in mind. Whether we're exploring mindfulness, meditation, or compassion, each practice will ultimately guide us back to this fundamental principle, the art of releasing what no longer serves us so we can live with greater peace and purpose. Chapter 2: The Four Noble Truths and Suffering. The teachings of Buddhism are vast and profound, but at their core lies a simple yet transformative framework known as the Four Noble Truths. These truths provide a roadmap for understanding suffering and, more importantly, how to overcome it. While they may sound philosophical or abstract, the Four Noble Truths are deeply practical, offering insights that can be applied directly to our daily lives. Let's explore each truth in detail, breaking them down so we can see how they relate to letting go and finding peace. The first noble truth is often summarized as life involves suffering. In Pali, the language of early Buddhist texts, this truth is called dukkha, which translates loosely to unsatisfactoriness or discontent. At first glance, this statement might seem pessimistic. After all, who wants to dwell on life's hardships? But the point isn't to focus on the negative, it's to acknowledge reality as it is. Suffering exists. It's an inherent part of being human. Whether it's physical pain, emotional heartache, or the subtle dissatisfaction that arises when things don't go our way, dukkha reminds us that challenges are unavoidable. By recognizing this truth, we stop pretending everything should always be perfect, and instead, we open ourselves to the possibility of growth and transformation. Think about your own life for a moment. How many times have you resisted discomfort? Whether it was grief over a loss, frustration with a difficult situation, or anxiety about the future. Resistance only amplifies suffering because it creates tension between what is and what we wish were true. When we accept that life includes both joy and hardship, we begin to loosen our grip on unrealistic expectations. This acceptance doesn't mean resignation. Rather, it's a step toward freedom. It allows us to meet life with honesty and courage, knowing that while suffering is inevitable, it doesn't have to define us. The second noble truth delves deeper into the causes of suffering. According to this truth, suffering arises from craving, or tanha in Pali. Craving manifests in three main forms: desire for sensory pleasures, attachment to existence or becoming, and aversion to unpleasant experiences. Together, these cravings fuel a cycle of grasping and clinging that keeps us trapped in dissatisfaction. To understand this better, consider how often we chase after fleeting pleasures or cling to certain outcomes. Maybe you've experienced the thrill of buying something new, a gadget, a piece of clothing, or a luxury item, only to find that the excitement fades quickly. Or perhaps you've held on to a relationship long after it stopped serving you, hoping it would magically improve. On the flip side, aversion leads us to push away discomfort, avoiding anything that feels painful or inconvenient. Both craving and aversion keep us stuck in patterns of suffering because they reinforce the illusion that happiness depends on external conditions. Buddhism teaches that true contentment comes not from acquiring more or avoiding pain, but from within. When we let go of craving, we free ourselves from its endless demands. This doesn't mean giving up enjoyment altogether. It means engaging with life without attachment to results. For example, imagine savoring a delicious meal without obsessing over whether there will be enough left for seconds. You can fully experience the pleasure of eating without the added stress of wanting more. Letting go of craving allows us to appreciate the richness of the present moment without being consumed by desire. The third noble truth offers hope. There is a way out of suffering. This truth declares that liberation, known as nirvana, is possible. Nirvana represents the extinguishing of the fires of craving, hatred, and ignorance. It's not some far-off paradise or heavenly realm. It's a state of profound peace and clarity that can be experienced here and now. Achieving nirvana doesn't require extraordinary abilities or divine intervention. It simply requires letting go of the habits and beliefs that perpetuate suffering. Imagine carrying a heavy backpack filled with stones. Each stone represents an attachment or craving, a belief that you need X to be happy, or that Y must happen for life to be okay. Now picture setting the backpack down. The weight lifts instantly. Similarly, when we release our attachments, we create space for ease and joy to emerge naturally. Liberation isn't about acquiring something new, it's about unburdening ourselves from what no longer serves us. Finally, the fourth noble truth outlines the path to ending suffering, the Eightfold Path. This path consists of 8 interconnected practices grouped into 3 categories: wisdom, prajna, ethical conduct, sila, and mental discipline, samadhi. Each aspect of the path supports the others, creating a holistic approach to personal development and spiritual awakening. Let's break down the components of the Eightfold Path briefly. Wisdom begins with right view. Understanding the nature of reality, including impermanence, non-self, and the law of cause and effect. Next is right intention, which involves cultivating wholesome motivations like compassion, kindness, and renunciation. Ethical conduct includes right speech, right action, and right livelihood, practicing integrity in communication, behavior, and work. Mental discipline encompasses right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration, training the mind to stay focused, aware, and balanced. Together, these practices guide us toward greater harmony and fulfillment. While the Eightfold Path may seem daunting at first, it's important to remember that it's not about perfection, it's about progress. Every small effort counts, whether it's speaking kindly to someone, choosing a livelihood aligned with your values, or practicing mindfulness during daily activities. Over time, these actions build momentum, leading to profound shifts in perspective and behavior. So how does all of this relate to letting go? Simply put, the Four Noble Truths show us why and how to release what binds us. They highlight the futility of clinging to transient pleasures or resisting uncomfortable realities. Instead, they invite us to embrace life as it unfolds, trusting in our capacity to navigate its ups and downs with grace. For instance, think about a recent challenge you faced. Did you try to control the outcome only to feel frustrated when things didn't go as planned? What if instead you had approached the situation with curiosity and openness? By letting go of rigid expectations, you might have discovered unexpected opportunities or lessons hidden within the difficulty. Practicing the principles of the Four Noble Truths takes patience and commitment. It's not a quick fix or a one-size-fits-all solution, but the rewards are immense: greater resilience, deeper connection, and a sense of inner peace that remains steady regardless of external circumstances. As we continue exploring Buddhism, meditation, and mindfulness, keep the Four Noble Truths in mind. They serve as a foundation for everything else we'll discuss, reminding us that letting go isn't just a technique, it's a way of living. Whether we're practicing loving kindness, working through difficult emotions, or simplifying our lives, the ultimate goal is the same: to release what weighs us down and awaken to the beauty of the present moment. Chapter 3: Introducing Mindfulness. Mindfulness is one of the most accessible and transformative practices rooted in Buddhist tradition, yet its relevance extends far beyond any single spiritual path. At its core, Mindfulness is about being fully present in the moment without judgment. It's a way of paying attention to what's happening right here, right now. Whether it's the sensation of your breath, the taste of your food, or the emotions arising within you. While this may sound simple, mindfulness has profound implications for how we navigate life, manage stress, and cultivate well-being. Let's dive deeply into what mindfulness is, why it matters, and how you can begin incorporating it into your daily routine. To understand mindfulness, it helps to first recognize what often gets in the way of presence, our habitual patterns of distraction. Think about how frequently your mind drifts off during everyday activities. You might be brushing your teeth while mentally rehearsing tomorrow's meeting, or scrolling through social media without really noticing what you're looking at. These moments of autopilot living are common, but they come at a cost. When we're not present, we miss out on the richness of life, the small joys, the subtle textures, and the fleeting beauty that exists in each moment. Mindfulness invites us to step out of this automatic mode and reconnect with the immediacy of experience. One of the foundational teachings of mindfulness comes from the Satipatthana Sutta, an ancient Buddhist text often referred to as the Discourse on the Foundations of Mindfulness. This teaching outlines 4 areas of focus for developing awareness: the body, feelings, the mind, and phenomena or mental objects. By systematically observing these aspects of our experience, we gain insight into the nature of reality and learn to relate to ourselves and the world with greater clarity and compassion. Let's explore each foundation briefly to see how they apply to mindfulness practice. The first area is mindfulness of the body. This involves tuning into physical sensations, how your feet feel against the ground, the rhythm of your breathing, or the posture you're holding. One classic exercise is mindful breathing, where you simply observe the inhalation and exhalation without trying to change anything. Breathing is always available to us, making it a reliable anchor for returning to the present moment whenever the mind wanders. Over time, this practice strengthens our ability to stay grounded, even amid chaos. The second foundation is mindfulness of feelings, or Vedana in Pali. Feelings here don't refer to emotions like happiness or sadness, but rather the initial tone of pleasantness, unpleasantness, or neutrality that arises in response to sensory input. For example, when you sip a hot beverage, you might notice a pleasant warmth spreading through your chest. Or if someone criticizes you, you might register an unpleasant tightening in your stomach. By becoming aware of these subtle reactions, we can avoid getting swept away by them. Instead of immediately labeling something as good or bad, we simply observe it, creating space to respond skillfully rather than react impulsively. The third foundation is mindfulness of the mind, or citta. This involves noticing the overall state of your mind. Is it calm or agitated, focused or scattered, open or closed? Observing the mind in this way helps us develop meta-awareness, a kind of bird's-eye view of our thoughts and emotions. Imagine sitting by a riverbank and watching leaves float downstream. Each leaf represents a thought or feeling passing through your awareness. Rather than jumping into the river and getting caught up in the current, you remain on the shore, observing without attachment. This perspective allows us to disentangle ourselves from unhelpful mental habits, such as rumination or self-criticism. Finally, the fourth foundation is mindfulness of phenomena, or dhammas. This includes observing the various factors that shape our experience, such as the 5 hindrances: desire, aversion, sloth, restlessness, and doubt, the 6 sense bases: eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and mind, and the 7 factors of enlightenment: mindfulness, investigation, energy, joy, tranquility, concentration, and equanimity. Phenomena. Mindfulness invites us to examine the interplay between internal and external influences, helping us understand the causes and conditions behind our experiences. For instance, if you find yourself feeling anxious before a presentation, you might trace this back to underlying fears of failure or judgment. Recognizing these patterns empowers you to address them constructively. While the Satipatthana framework provides structure, mindfulness doesn't require elaborate techniques or rigid rules. In fact, one of its greatest strengths is its flexibility. You can practice mindfulness anywhere, anytime, simply by bringing your full attention to whatever you're doing. Here are some practical ways to integrate mindfulness into your daily life. Mindful eating. Instead of rushing through meals, take time to savor each bite. Notice the colors, textures, and flavors of your food. Chew slowly and pay attention to how your body feels as you eat. This not only enhances enjoyment but also supports better digestion and healthier eating habits. Mindful walking. Whether you're strolling through a park or walking down a busy street, focus on the sensations of movement. Feel the contact of your feet with the ground, the rhythm of your steps, and the sway of your arms. If your mind starts to wander, gently bring it back to the act of walking. Mindful listening. During conversations, give the other person your full attention. Resist the urge to interrupt or plan your next response. Instead, listen deeply, noticing their tone, facial expressions, and body language. This fosters connection and empathy. Mindful pauses. Throughout the day, pause for a few moments to check in with yourself. Take 3 deep breaths, scanning your body for tension and observing your thoughts and emotions. These mini breaks help reset your nervous system and prevent overwhelm. Mindful transitions. Use transitions between activities as opportunities to practice mindfulness. Before starting a new task, take a moment to breathe and set an intention. For example, before answering emails, remind yourself to approach them with patience and care. Beyond these specific practices, mindfulness also encourages us to adopt a non-judgmental attitude toward our experiences. Often we label things as good or bad, reinforcing binary thinking that limits our perspective. Mindfulness teaches us to suspend judgment and meet each moment with curiosity and openness. Suppose you're stuck in traffic and start feeling irritated. A mindful approach would involve acknowledging the irritation without identifying with it. You might say to yourself, irritation has arisen, rather than spiraling into frustration or blame. This shift in perspective creates space for wiser responses. Another key aspect of mindfulness is acceptance. Acceptance doesn't mean resignation. It means acknowledging reality as it is, rather than resisting or denying it. For example, if you're grieving a loss, mindfulness doesn't ask you to stop feeling sad. It asks you to fully honor your grief without pushing it away. Paradoxically, accepting difficult emotions often lessens their intensity over time because we're no longer fighting against them. Research has shown that mindfulness offers numerous benefits for both mental and physical health. Studies indicate that regular mindfulness practice can reduce stress, improve focus, enhance emotional regulation, and boost overall well-being. It's been used successfully in therapeutic settings to treat anxiety, depression, chronic pain, and insomnia. But perhaps the most compelling reason to practice mindfulness is the sense of freedom it brings. When we let go of distractions and tune into the present moment, we realize that peace isn't something we need to chase. It's already here, waiting to be discovered. As we continue exploring Buddhism, meditation, and mindfulness, keep in mind that mindfulness is more than just a technique. It's a way of being. It's about cultivating presence, awareness, and compassion in every aspect of life. Whether you're meditating formally, engaging in daily tasks, or navigating challenges, mindfulness serves as a guiding principle for letting go of what weighs you down and embracing the richness of the here and now. Chapter 4. Loving Kindness Meditation. Loving kindness meditation, or metta in Pali, is one of the most heartwarming and transformative practices rooted in Buddhist tradition. It's a form of meditation that cultivates compassion, not only for others, but also for ourselves. In a world often marked by division, stress, and self-criticism, loving kindness offers a remedy. It reminds us of our shared humanity and invites us to open our hearts to love and connection. Over the next section, we'll explore what loving kindness meditation is, why it matters, how to practice it, and how it can help you let go of negativity and embrace a more compassionate way of living. At its essence, Loving-kindness meditation involves generating feelings of goodwill, care, and warmth toward all beings, including yourself. The practice begins with directing loving-kindness inward, then gradually expanding outward to include loved ones, acquaintances, strangers, and even those with whom we have difficulty. By systematically broadening the circle of compassion, we weaken the barriers that separate us from others and foster a sense of interconnectedness. The origins of loving-kindness meditation can be traced back to the Karaniya Metta Sutta, a teaching attributed to the Buddha. In this text, he emphasizes the importance of cultivating boundless love and goodwill as a path to peace and liberation. He encourages practitioners to radiate loving-kindness to all quarters without discrimination, creating a field of benevolence that permeates every aspect of life. This universal approach challenges us to transcend personal biases and extend care to everyone, regardless of whether they've earned it or reciprocated it. Why does loving-kindness matter so much? To answer this question, consider how often we're consumed by negative emotions, anger, resentment, fear, or judgment. These states not only harm our relationships, but also weigh heavily on our own well-being. When we hold on to grudges or dwell on perceived slights, we create inner turmoil that keeps us stuck. Loving-kindness meditation provides an antidote by shifting our focus from aversion to affection, from separation to unity. It teaches us to replace hostility with harmony, criticism with kindness, and isolation with connection. One of the most profound aspects of loving-kindness meditation is its emphasis on self-compassion. Many of us are quick to extend care and understanding to others, yet we struggle to offer the same generosity to ourselves. We criticize our mistakes, berate ourselves for imperfections, and dismiss our needs as unimportant. But self-compassion is essential because it lays the foundation for extending compassion to others. If we cannot love and accept ourselves, how can we authentically connect with those around us? To begin practicing loving-kindness meditation, find a quiet space where you won't be disturbed. Sit comfortably, close your eyes, and take a few deep breaths to settle into the present moment. Then, silently repeat phrases designed to evoke feelings of goodwill. Traditional phrases include, "May I be happy," "May I be healthy," "May I be safe," "May I live with ease." As you repeat these phrases, imagine them sinking deeply into your heart. Picture yourself surrounded by warmth and light, as if being embraced by unconditional love. Don't worry if you don't immediately feel waves of affection. The goal isn't to force emotions, but to plant seeds of kindness that will grow over time. Once you've spent several minutes directing loving kindness toward yourself, shift your attention to someone you care about deeply, a family member, friend, or mentor. Visualize their face clearly, recalling moments when they brought joy or support into your life. Silently repeat the same phrases, replacing I with you. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you be safe. May you live with ease. Feel the warmth of your wishes flowing toward them, knowing that your intentions contribute to their well-being, even if they never consciously receive them. Next, expand your circle of compassion to include neutral individuals, people you encounter regularly but don't know well, such as a cashier, delivery person, or neighbor. Though these interactions may seem insignificant, they play a role in shaping your day-to-day experience. Direct loving kindness toward them, recognizing their humanity and inherent worth. Afterward, turn your attention to difficult individuals, those who challenge you, frustrate you, or evoke strong emotions. This step can feel particularly challenging, especially if someone has caused significant harm. However, it's important to remember that loving kindness doesn't mean condoning harmful behavior or excusing injustice. Instead, it's about softening the grip of anger and resentment within yourself. By wishing for their happiness and freedom from suffering, you release the toxic energy of hatred and reclaim your own peace of mind. Finally, broaden your scope to encompass all beings everywhere. Imagine sending waves of loving kindness across the globe. reaching people of every race, religion, and background. Extend your wishes to animals, plants, and ecosystems, acknowledging the interdependence of all life. As you do this, feel your heart expanding beyond its usual boundaries, dissolving the illusion of separateness. Loving-kindness meditation isn't limited to formal practice. It can also be integrated into daily life. Here are some ways to bring metta off the cushion and into your routine. Morning ritual. Start each day by silently offering loving-kindness to yourself and others. This sets a positive tone for the hours ahead and helps cultivate resilience in the face of challenges. During commutes, use travel time to send loving kindness to fellow commuters, drivers, cyclists, or pedestrians. Even brief moments of goodwill can transform frustration into patience. In difficult moments when faced with conflict or irritation, pause and silently wish for the other person's happiness and ease. This simple act can diffuse tension and foster empathy. Before bed, end your day by reflecting on the people you interacted with and offering them loving kindness. This promotes restful sleep and reinforces feelings of gratitude and connection. Research has shown that loving-kindness meditation offers numerous psychological and physiological benefits. Studies indicate that regular practice increases positive emotions, reduces symptoms of depression and anxiety, enhances social connectedness, and even improves physical health markers like blood pressure and immune function. One fascinating study found that participants who practiced loving-kindness meditation experienced structural changes in brain regions associated with empathy and emotional regulation. These findings underscore the power of intention to shape both our internal landscape and external reality. Beyond its individual benefits, loving-kindness meditation has ripple effects that extend far beyond the practitioner. When we embody compassion, we naturally inspire kindness in others, creating a chain reaction of goodwill. Think of it as planting seeds in a garden. Though you may not see immediate results, your efforts contribute to a flourishing ecosystem over time. It's worth noting that loving-kindness meditation isn't always easy. Some days you might struggle to generate feelings of warmth, especially toward yourself or difficult individuals. That's perfectly normal. Compassion is a muscle that strengthens with use, and resistance is part of the process. Be gentle with yourself and trust that consistency matters more than intensity. Even small doses of loving kindness can yield meaningful results. Moreover, loving kindness meditation complements other mindfulness practices beautifully. While mindfulness trains us to observe our experiences without attachment, loving kindness infuses that observation with warmth and care. Together they create a balanced approach to navigating life's ups and downs, one that combines clarity with compassion. Let's take a closer look at how loving kindness supports the broader theme of letting go. Often the things that weigh us down, resentment, guilt, fear, are rooted in a lack of compassion. We hold on to grudges because we believe someone deserves punishment, or we punish ourselves because we feel unworthy of forgiveness. Loving kind-look meditation disrupts these patterns by reframing our perspective. Instead of seeing others or ourselves as adversaries, we recognize shared vulnerability and the universal desire for happiness and freedom from suffering. For example, imagine holding on to anger toward a colleague who undermined you during a meeting. Each time the memory surfaces, it triggers fresh waves of frustration. Practicing loving kindness allows you to step back from the narrative and acknowledge the pain beneath the anger for yourself and for the colleague. Perhaps they acted out of insecurity or misunderstanding rather than malice. By wishing them well, you release the emotional charge tied to the situation, freeing yourself from its grip. Similarly, self-compassion helps us let go of perfectionism and unrealistic expectations. Many of us carry an inner critic that constantly evaluates and judges our actions. Loving kindness meditation counters this voice by reminding us that we're worthy of love and acceptance exactly as we are. It encourages us to treat ourselves with the same kindness we'd offer a dear friend, fostering a healthier relationship with ourselves. Ultimately, loving kindness meditation is a practice of opening not just our hearts, but our entire being to the possibility of connection and healing. It teaches us that love is not a finite resource, but an infinite wellspring available to everyone, including ourselves. And while it may not solve every problem or erase every hardship, it equips us with tools to navigate life with greater grace and resilience. As we continue exploring Buddhism, meditation, and mindfulness, keep loving kindness close to your heart. Whether you're facing personal struggles, seeking deeper connections, or simply striving to live with more compassion, this practice offers a timeless reminder the capacity to love is always within reach. Chapter 5. Non-attachment in daily life. Non-attachment is one of the most misunderstood, yet profoundly liberating concepts in Buddhism and mindfulness practices. At first glance, it might sound cold or detached, like we're being asked to give up everything we care about. But non-attachment isn't about disengaging from life. It's about engaging more fully while holding things lightly. It's a way of living that allows us to embrace the richness of each moment without clinging to outcomes, identities, or expectations. In this chapter, we'll explore what non-attachment truly means, why it's essential for letting go of what weighs us down, and how you can cultivate it in your daily life. To understand non-attachment, let's start by clarifying what it isn't. Non-attachment doesn't mean indifference, apathy, or emotional numbness. You don't stop caring about your loved ones, your passions, or your goals. Instead, non-attachment invites you to relate to these aspects of life with greater flexibility and openness. It's about recognizing that nothing lasts forever. Not success, relationships, health, or even challenges, and learning to flow with change rather than resist it. At its core, non-attachment is rooted in the Buddhist teaching of impermanence, anicca. Everything in life is transient. Seasons shift, friendships evolve, careers rise and fall, and our own bodies age over time. Yet, despite this universal truth, we often cling to the illusion of permanence. We want happiness to last indefinitely, achievements to remain constant, and pain to disappear quickly. This resistance to impermanence creates suffering because it sets us up for disappointment when things inevitably change. Non-attachment helps us align with reality by reminding us that life is a dynamic process, not a static state. Imagine watching waves crash against the shore. The water moves continuously, never staying still. If you tried to hold on to a single wave, you'd only end up frustrated. It would slip through your fingers no matter how tightly you gripped. Similarly, non-attachment teaches us to appreciate the beauty of the wave without trying to control it. When applied to daily life, this mindset frees us from unnecessary tension and opens us to deeper joy. So, how does non-attachment translate into practical action? Let's break it down into specific areas where it can make a meaningful difference: work, relationships, material possessions, and self-image. Non-attachment in work. Many of us tie our sense of identity and worth to our jobs or accomplishments. We define ourselves by titles, promotions, or external validation, believing that success will bring lasting fulfillment. While ambition itself isn't problematic, attachment to outcomes can lead to stress, burnout, and dissatisfaction. For example, imagine putting months of effort into a project only to receive lukewarm feedback. If your self-worth is tied to the outcome, you might feel crushed. But if you approach your work with non-attachment, you focus on the process, the creativity, collaboration, and growth, rather than obsessing over results. This perspective reduces pressure and allows you to enjoy the journey regardless of the destination. One way to practice non-attachment at work is to set intentions rather than rigid expectations. Before starting a task, ask yourself, what do I hope to learn or contribute? How can I stay present and engaged? By shifting your focus from what will happen to how can I show up, you cultivate resilience and adaptability. Non-attachment in relationships. Relationships are another area where attachment can cause suffering. Whether it's romantic partnerships, friendships, or family dynamics, we often expect others to behave in certain ways or meet specific needs. When these expectations aren't met, conflict arises. Non-attachment in relationships means loving deeply without clinging to people, roles, or outcomes. It's about cherishing someone for who they are right now, not who you want them to be. For instance, suppose you have a close friend who suddenly becomes distant due to personal struggles. An attached response might involve taking their withdrawal personally, feeling hurt or abandoned. A non-attached response, however, acknowledges their autonomy and humanity. You can still care deeply for them while accepting that their actions aren't a reflection of your value. This approach preserves the relationship and prevents unnecessary suffering. Practicing non-attachment in relationships also involves setting healthy boundaries. Sometimes we confuse attachment with love, thinking that sacrificing our well-being for others demonstrates devotion. True non-attachment requires discernment, knowing when to support and when to step back. By honoring both your needs and theirs, you create space for authentic connection, non-attachment to material possessions. In consumer-driven societies, we're conditioned to believe acquiring more stuff will make us happier. Yet research consistently shows that material wealth has diminishing returns when it comes to long-term satisfaction. Attachment to possessions can lead to clutter, financial strain, and a sense of emptiness once the novelty wears off. Non-attachment encourages us to simplify, not out of deprivation, but out of clarity. Consider decluttering your home as an exercise in non-attachment. As you sort through items, ask yourself, does this object serve a purpose or bring me genuine joy? If not, let it go with gratitude for whatever role it played in your life. Over time, this practice creates physical and mental spaciousness, allowing you to focus on what truly matters. Similarly, adopt a mindful approach to consumption. Before making a purchase, pause and reflect. Am I buying this out of genuine need or desire, or am I seeking temporary relief from discomfort? Non-attachment helps us distinguish between impulse and intention, fostering sustainable habits. Non-attachment to self-image. Perhaps the most challenging form of attachment is our identification with fixed ideas about ourselves. We tell stories like, I'm not good enough, I must always succeed, or I'm naturally anxious. These narratives shape how we perceive and interact with the world, often limiting our potential. Non-attachment to self-image means recognizing that these labels aren't absolute truths. They're constructs we've created based on past experiences. To practice non-attachment to self-image, begin by observing your inner dialogue. Notice when you're reinforcing limiting beliefs and gently challenge them. For example, if you catch yourself thinking, I'll never be confident, reframe it as, confidence is something I can cultivate over time. This shift empowers you to grow beyond rigid definitions of who you are. Another powerful tool is embracing imperfection. Perfectionism stems from attachment to an idealized version of ourselves, one that's flawless and unchanging. Non-attachment reminds us that mistakes and setbacks are part of the human experience. By accepting our flaws with compassion, we free ourselves from the burden of unrealistic standards. The benefits of non-attachment. Non-attachment offers numerous benefits for mental, emotional, and spiritual well-being. First and foremost, it reduces suffering by helping us let go of resistance. When we accept that change is inevitable, we stop fighting against it and find peace in the flow of life. Non-attachment also enhances resilience, enabling us to navigate challenges with equanimity. Instead of crumbling under pressure, we adapt and respond skillfully. Additionally, non-attachment fosters presence. When we're not fixated on the past or future, we become fully available to the here and now. This heightened awareness enriches our experiences, whether we're savoring a meal, having a conversation, or simply breathing. Finally, non-attachment deepens our capacity for love and connection. By releasing possessiveness and control, we create space for genuine intimacy, whether it's with ourselves, others, or the world around us. Non-attachment allows us to engage authentically and wholeheartedly. practical exercises for cultivating non-attachment. Mindful reflection. Set aside a few minutes each day to reflect on areas where you might be overly attached. Is it a particular outcome, relationship, possession, or belief? Acknowledge the attachment without judgment, then visualize loosening your grip. Imagine placing it gently aside, trusting that life will unfold as it should. Gratitude. Practice. Focus on appreciating what you currently have, rather than longing for what you lack. Write down 3 things you're grateful for every day, emphasizing their impermanent nature. For example, instead of writing, "I'm grateful for my job," try, "I'm grateful for the opportunity to contribute today." Letting go rituals. Create simple rituals to release attachment symbolically. For instance, write down a fear or worry on a piece of paper, then burn it or bury it in the ground. This act represents your willingness to surrender control and trust in the natural course of events. Daily detachment. Breaks. Throughout the day, pause to notice where you're holding on too tightly. Maybe it's insisting on a specific plan, needing everyone to agree with you, or expecting perfection. In those moments, remind yourself, this is just one possibility among many. Allow room for alternatives to emerge. Engage fully, hold lightly. Whenever you undertake an activity, commit to it completely while remaining open to change. For example, if you're gardening, immerse yourself in the task, feeling the soil, noticing the plants, but recognize that the garden exists independently of your efforts. Trust that it will thrive or transform in its own time. Challenges and misconceptions. While non-attachment is incredibly liberating, it's not without its challenges. One common misconception is that it leads to passivity or complacency. People worry that if they stop striving for goals or advocating for themselves, they'll lose motivation or agency. However, non-attachment actually enhances effectiveness by freeing us from the paralyzing grip of fear and desire. It allows us to act with clarity and purpose, unburdened by attachment to specific outcomes. Another challenge is overcoming societal conditioning. From a young age, we're taught to pursue stability, security, and certainty. Non-attachment requires unlearning these ingrained patterns and embracing uncertainty as a source of freedom rather than fear. This shift takes time and patience, but the rewards are immeasurable. Integrating non-attachment with other practices. Non-attachment complements other mindfulness and meditation practices beautifully. For example, combining non-attachment with loving-kindness meditation amplifies compassion by reducing ego-driven motives. Instead of wishing for someone's happiness because it benefits you, you extend goodwill purely out of care. Similarly, non-attachment enhances mindfulness by encouraging curiosity and openness. When we observe our thoughts and emotions without clinging to them, we gain insight into their transient nature. This understanding reinforces the practice of staying present and reduces reactivity. As we continue exploring Buddhism, meditation, and mindfulness, remember that non-attachment is a cornerstone of letting go. It's not about detaching from life, but engaging with it more fully, embracing its fluidity, unpredictability, and beauty. By practicing non-attachment, we lighten our load, creating space for peace, joy, and connection to flourish. Chapter 6. Working with difficult emotions. Difficult emotions are an inevitable part of life. Whether it's anger, sadness, fear, guilt, or frustration, these feelings arise naturally in response to challenges, losses, and uncertainties. While they can feel overwhelming, difficult emotions don't have to control us. In fact, when approached skillfully, they can become powerful teachers, guiding us toward greater self-awareness, resilience, and compassion. In this chapter, we'll explore how to work with difficult emotions using tools from Buddhism, mindfulness, and psychology, helping you let go of what weighs you down and transform your relationship with discomfort. To begin, it's important to acknowledge that difficult emotions aren't inherently bad. They serve a purpose, signaling unmet needs, boundaries being crossed, or values being compromised. For example, anger might alert you to injustice, Sadness could highlight the importance of something you've lost, and fear may warn you of potential danger. The problem arises not from the emotions themselves, but from how we relate to them. When we resist, suppress, or over-identify with difficult emotions, they tend to linger and intensify. By contrast, when we meet them with curiosity and care, we create space for healing and growth. One of the key teachings of Buddhism is that emotions are impermanent, anicca. Like clouds passing through the sky, they arise, linger for a time, and then dissolve. Yet our habitual tendency is to cling to unpleasant emotions, replaying them in our minds long after the triggering event has passed. Or we try to push them away, avoiding anything that feels uncomfortable. Both approaches reinforce suffering because they prevent us from experiencing emotions fully and releasing them naturally. Mindfulness offers a middle path, neither clinging nor avoiding, but simply observing. This practice involves noticing difficult emotions as they arise, acknowledging their presence without judgment, and allowing them to flow through you like a wave. Imagine sitting by the ocean and watching the tide come in. You wouldn't try to stop the water or hold on to it. You'd observe its movement and trust that it will recede on its own. Similarly, mindfulness teaches us to witness our emotions without getting swept away by them. Let's break this process down into practical steps. Naming the emotion. The first step in working with difficult emotions is identifying them clearly. Often we experience a vague sense of unease without pinpointing exactly what we're feeling. Naming the emotion, whether it's anger, sadness, or anxiety, brings clarity and reduces its intensity. Research shows that labeling emotions activates the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for rational thinking, which helps regulate emotional responses. For example, if you notice tension building in your chest during a conversation, pause and ask yourself, what am I feeling right now? Is it irritation, hurt, disappointment? Simply naming the emotion creates distance between you and it, giving you a sense of agency. Instead of saying, I am angry, you might reframe it as, anger has arisen. This subtle shift reminds you that emotions are visitors. They don't define who you are. Locating the emotion in the body. Emotions aren't just mental states, they manifest physically as well. Anger might feel like heat rising in your face, sadness could weigh heavily on your chest, and anxiety might tighten your stomach. By tuning into these bodily sensations, you ground yourself in the present moment and deepen your understanding of the emotion. Try this exercise. Close your eyes and scan your body from head to toe. Where do you feel the emotion most strongly? What does it feel like? Sharp, dull, hot, cold, tight, or expansive? As you focus on the sensation, notice how it changes over time. Does it grow stronger or softer? Move to a different area. Observing the physical expression of an emotion helps you stay connected to it without becoming overwhelmed. Investigating the emotion. Once you've identified and located the emotion, take a moment to investigate it further. Ask yourself, what triggered this feeling? What story am I telling myself about it? What need isn't being met? These questions invite curiosity rather than judgment, helping you uncover the root causes of your discomfort. For instance, suppose you're feeling anxious before a presentation. Upon reflection, you realize that the anxiety stems from a fear of being judged or making mistakes. Understanding this allows you to address the underlying concern directly. For example, by reminding yourself that everyone makes mistakes and that your worth isn't determined by others' opinions. Cultivating compassion. Working with difficult emotions requires kindness, not only toward others, but also toward yourself. Many of us respond to unpleasant feelings with criticism, blaming ourselves for overreacting or not handling things better. This self-judgment only compounds the pain. Instead, treat yourself with the same compassion you'd offer a friend going through a tough time. Loving kindness. Meditation can be particularly helpful here. Silently repeat phrases like, "May I be free from suffering. May I find peace in this moment. May I accept myself exactly as I am." By directing warmth and care inward, you soothe the raw edges of difficult emotions and build resilience for future challenges, allowing the emotion to pass. Finally, remember that all emotions are temporary. Just as storms eventually clear, so too do periods of emotional turbulence. When you allow yourself to fully experience an emotion without trying to fix, suppress, or prolong it, it naturally runs its course and dissipates. Trust that you have the capacity to endure even the most intense feelings, knowing they won't last forever. This principle aligns with the Buddhist concept of dukkha, or unsatisfactoriness. Difficult emotions remind us that life includes both pleasure and pain, gain and loss, praise and blame. Accepting this truth reduces resistance and fosters equanimity, a state of calm balance amid life's ups and downs. Common challenges in working with difficult emotions. While the steps outlined above provide a framework, working with difficult emotions isn't always straightforward. Here are some common obstacles and strategies for overcoming them. Overwhelm. Sometimes emotions feel so intense that they seem impossible to manage. If this happens, start small. Focus on one aspect of the emotion at a time, its name, location, or trigger, and gradually expand your awareness. Grounding techniques, such as focusing on your breath or surroundings, can also help anchor you in the present moment. Avoidance. It's tempting to distract ourselves from difficult emotions by binge-watching TV, scrolling through social media, or numbing out with food or substances. While these activities may provide short-term relief, they ultimately prolong suffering by preventing us from processing the emotion. To counteract avoidance, commit to sitting with the emotion for just 5 minutes. Over time, you'll build confidence in your ability to handle discomfort. Judgment. We often judge ourselves harshly for experiencing certain emotions, especially those deemed negative. Remind yourself that emotions are neutral, they're simply signals meant to guide us. Instead of labeling them as good or bad, view them as messengers offering valuable information. Reactivity. In moments of heightened emotion, it's easy to act impulsively, snapping at someone, lashing out, or retreating into isolation. Mindfulness gives you the space to pause before reacting, allowing you to choose a more skillful response. Practice taking a few deep breaths whenever you notice yourself escalating emotionally. Transforming difficult emotions into growth opportunities. When handled skillfully, difficult emotions can catalyze personal growth and transformation. For example, anger can fuel activism, motivating you to stand up for justice or advocate for change. Sadness can deepen empathy, fostering greater connection with others who are suffering. Fear can sharpen intuition, guiding you toward decisions that align with your values. The key is to channel the energy of difficult emotions constructively rather than letting them consume you. Journaling, creative expression, physical activity, and meaningful conversations are all ways to process and integrate challenging experiences. Practical exercises for working with difficult emotions. RAIN. Technique developed by psychologist Tara Brach. RAIN is a 4-step process for navigating difficult emotions. Recognize, acknowledge what you're feeling, allow, permit the emotion to exist without resistance. Investigate. Explore its physical, mental, and emotional components. Nurture. Offer yourself compassion and care. 2-minute check-in. Throughout the day, pause for 2 minutes to check in with yourself. Ask, how am I feeling right now? Where do I notice this emotion in my body? What do I need to support myself? This simple habit builds emotional awareness and prevents overwhelm. Visualization practice. Picture your difficult emotion as a cloud drifting across the sky. Watch it form, expand, and eventually dissolve. Remind yourself that, like the cloud, the emotion will pass. Gratitude. Amid difficulty. Even in challenging moments, look for silver linings or lessons. For example, if you're grieving a loss, reflect on the love and memories shared with the person who is gone. Gratitude doesn't negate pain, but provides perspective. daily reflection. Before bed, write about any difficult emotions you experienced during the day. Describe what triggered them, how you responded, and what insights emerged. Over time, patterns will reveal themselves, empowering you to navigate similar situations more skillfully. Integrating non-attachment with emotional work. Non-attachment plays a crucial role in working with difficult emotions. By holding emotions lightly, acknowledging their presence without clinging to them, we avoid identifying with them or letting them dominate our lives. For example, instead of saying, "I'm a failure," you might say, "Failure has arisen." This distinction creates psychological distance, reducing the power of the emotion to dictate your behavior. Non-attachment also encourages us to embrace vulnerability. Rather than seeing difficult emotions as weaknesses, we recognize them as integral parts of the human experience. This acceptance fosters authenticity and connection both with ourselves and others. Conclusion: working with difficult emotions is a lifelong journey, not a destination. Each time you face discomfort with mindfulness and compassion, you strengthen your capacity to navigate life's challenges with grace and wisdom. As we continue exploring Buddhism, meditation, and mindfulness, keep these principles in mind. Letting go of what weighs you down begins with embracing, even befriending, the full spectrum of your emotions. By doing so, you open yourself to deeper peace, joy, and freedom. Chapter 7: The Power of Gratitude. Gratitude is one of the simplest yet most profound practices we can cultivate to transform our lives. It's a powerful antidote to scarcity thinking, the belief that there isn't enough love, joy, success, or goodness to go around. When we focus on what we're thankful for, even amidst challenges, we shift our perspective from lack to abundance. This chapter explores the transformative power of gratitude, its roots in Buddhist teachings and mindfulness, and practical ways to incorporate it into your daily life. By embracing gratitude, you'll find yourself letting go of negativity and opening up to a deeper sense of fulfillment and connection. At its core, gratitude is about recognizing and appreciating the good in our lives. It doesn't deny pain or hardship. Instead, it helps us see that alongside difficulties, there are countless blessings waiting to be acknowledged. In Buddhism, gratitude aligns closely with the principle of dana, or generosity. Dana emphasizes giving freely without expectation of reward, cultivating an attitude of abundance and interconnectedness. Gratitude extends this spirit by reminding us to notice and cherish the gifts we've already received, whether they come from people, nature, or simply the unfolding of life itself. The practice of gratitude also ties into mindfulness. Mindfulness teaches us to pay attention to the present moment, and gratitude invites us to find beauty and meaning within it. Together, these practices create a feedback loop. The more mindful we are, the easier it becomes to notice things worth being grateful for, and the more gratitude we cultivate, the more mindful we become. This synergy enhances our overall well-being, fostering resilience, positivity, and a deeper appreciation for life. Why gratitude matters. Research has shown that gratitude offers numerous psychological, emotional, and even physical benefits. Studies indicate that people who regularly practice gratitude report higher levels of happiness, reduced symptoms of depression and anxiety, improved sleep quality, stronger immune systems, and greater relationship satisfaction. But beyond these measurable outcomes, gratitude transforms how we relate to ourselves, others, and the world. One reason gratitude is so impactful is that it shifts our focus. Instead of dwelling on what's missing or wrong, we direct our attention to what's working and abundant. For example, imagine waking up to a rainy morning. A scarcity mindset might lead you to grumble about the gloomy weather, while a gratitude mindset encourages you to appreciate the nourishment rain provides for plants and ecosystems, or the cozy opportunity it creates to stay indoors with a warm drink. This subtle reframing changes not only how we perceive external circumstances, but also how we feel internally. Gratitude also strengthens relationships. When we express appreciation for others, we affirm their value and reinforce bonds of trust and connection. Even small gestures, a heartfelt thank you, a note of acknowledgement, or simply listening attentively can have a profound impact. Similarly, when we practice self-gratitude, we build a healthier relationship with ourselves, fostering self-compassion and acceptance. Despite its benefits, gratitude isn't always easy to access, especially during tough times. Life's challenges can cloud our ability to see the good, making it tempting to focus solely on what's difficult. That's why cultivating gratitude intentionally is so important. It trains us to seek light even in darkness. Over time, this habit rewires our brains, creating new neural pathways that prioritize positivity and resilience. Roots of gratitude in Buddhism and mindfulness. In Buddhist teachings, gratitude arises naturally from understanding interdependence, the idea that all beings and phenomena are interconnected. Nothing exists independently. Everything relies on causes and conditions to arise. For instance, the food on your plate depends on farmers, soil, sunlight, water, and countless other factors. Recognizing this web of support inspires gratitude for the unseen efforts that sustain us. Mindfulness enhances this awareness by encouraging us to slow down and truly savor life's details. When we eat mindfully, we don't just consume food. We taste its flavors, feel its textures, and acknowledge the hands that prepared it. When we walk mindfully, we notice the rhythm of our steps, the sensation of air against our skin, and the beauty of our surroundings. These moments of presence deepen our capacity for gratitude because they highlight the richness of ordinary experiences. Buddhism also emphasizes gratitude as a form of ethical conduct. Expressing thanks isn't merely polite, it reflects a genuine recognition of kindness and generosity. Whether it's thanking a teacher for guidance, acknowledging a friend's support, or appreciating the Earth's resources, gratitude fosters harmony and mutual respect. It reminds us that every action ripples outward, influencing the collective well-being of all beings. Practical ways to cultivate gratitude. Cultivating gratitude doesn't require grand gestures or elaborate rituals. Small, consistent practices woven into daily life can yield significant results. Here are some ideas to get started. Gratitude. Journaling. One of the most popular methods for practicing gratitude is keeping a journal. Each day, write down 3 to 5 things you're grateful for. They don't need to be monumental. Perhaps it's the warmth of the sun on your face, a kind word from a stranger, or the comfort of your bed at night. The act of writing forces you to reflect on positive aspects of your day, reinforcing them in your memory. To deepen the practice, consider adding details. Why are you grateful for this particular thing? How did it make you feel? Daily reflections. If journaling feels too structured, try incorporating gratitude into informal reflections. Before bed, take a few moments to mentally review your day and identify moments of grace or joy. You might silently say, "Today I'm grateful for," followed by a brief list. This habit primes your mind to end the day on a positive note, improving sleep quality and overall mood. Verbal expressions of thanks. Don't underestimate the power of saying thank you aloud. Whether it's thanking a barista for your coffee, expressing appreciation to a colleague for their help, or telling a loved one how much they mean to you, verbal gratitude strengthens connections and spreads positivity. Be specific in your expressions. For example, instead of saying, "Thanks for dinner," try, "Thank you for taking the time to cook such a delicious meal. It made me feel cared for." Gratitude letters. Writing a letter to someone who has positively impacted your life is a deeply meaningful way to practice gratitude. Reflect on their contributions, articulate your appreciation, and, if possible, deliver the letter in person. Reading it aloud allows both parties to share in the experience, creating a profound sense of connection. If delivering the letter isn't feasible, simply writing it can still evoke feelings of gratitude and closure. Mindful appreciation. Throughout the day, pause to notice and appreciate small wonders. The sound of birds chirping, the smell of fresh laundry, the texture of a smooth stone. By engaging your senses fully, you amplify your awareness of these gifts. Try framing each observation with a silent thank you, whether it's directed toward the universe, a higher power, or simply life itself. Gratitude walks. Combine movement and mindfulness by taking a gratitude walk. As you stroll, pay attention to your surroundings and mentally note things you're grateful for. Maybe it's the vibrant colors of autumn leaves, the laughter of children playing nearby, or the steady rhythm of your breath. Walking outdoors amplifies the benefits by connecting you with nature's beauty and tranquility. Gratitude. Reminders. Set reminders on your phone or place sticky notes in visible locations with prompts like, "What am I grateful for right now?" These cues interrupt autopilot mode, nudging you to pause and refocus on positivity. Over time, they train your brain to automatically scan for reasons to be thankful. Challenges in practicing gratitude. While gratitude is universally beneficial, it's not always easy to maintain, particularly during difficult periods. Here are some common obstacles and strategies for overcoming them. Difficulty finding things to be grateful for. When life feels overwhelming, identifying sources of gratitude can seem impossible. Start small. Focus on basic necessities like shelter, food, or health. Even tiny comforts like a soft pillow or a favorite song count. Gradually expand your scope as your practice deepens. Feeling like gratitude is forced. Authenticity matters in gratitude practice. If forcing yourself to feel grateful feels inauthentic, shift your approach. Instead of trying to manufacture emotions, simply observe what's present. Acknowledge challenges while gently inviting awareness of any silver linings. Comparison. Trap. It's easy to undermine gratitude by comparing your situation to others. Remember that gratitude isn't about having more than someone else. It's about appreciating what you do have. Focus inward rather than outward. Neglecting self-gratitude. We often reserve gratitude for external sources, but forget to acknowledge ourselves. Practice self-gratitude by celebrating personal achievements, no matter how minor. For example, thank yourself for showing up to work despite feeling tired, or for choosing kindness in a challenging interaction. Transformative effects of gratitude. When practiced consistently, gratitude has the power to reshape your entire outlook on life. It reduces stress by shifting attention away from worries and fears, replacing them with a awareness of abundance. It boosts optimism by training your mind to anticipate and recognize positive outcomes, and it fosters compassion by highlighting the interconnectedness of all beings. Gratitude also supports the broader theme of letting go. By focusing on what we have rather than what we lack, we release attachment to unmet desires and unrealistic expectations. We learn to embrace imperfection and uncertainty, trusting that life provides exactly what we need in each moment. Integrating gratitude into non-attachment and mindfulness. Gratitude complements non-attachment and mindfulness beautifully. While non-attachment teaches us to hold lightly to possessions, identities, and outcomes, gratitude reminds us to cherish the fleeting beauty of existence. Together, they encourage us to live fully in the present, appreciating each moment without clinging to permanence. Mindfulness enhances gratitude by sharpening our awareness of life's details. When we're fully present, we notice the intricate patterns of frost on a window pane, the melody of raindrops hitting leaves, or the warmth of a hug. These micro moments of wonder fuel gratitude, enriching our experience of the here and now. Conclusion. Gratitude is more than a practice, it's a way of being. It invites us to open our hearts to the abundance of life, even when circumstances feel bleak. By cultivating gratitude, we let go of scarcity thinking and step into a mindset of sufficiency and joy. As we continue exploring Buddhism, meditation, and mindfulness, let gratitude guide your journey. It will illuminate the path, reminding you that peace and fulfillment are always within reach if you choose to see them. Chapter 8. Finding Balance Through Simplicity. Simplicity is one of the most profound yet often overlooked paths to finding balance in our chaotic modern world. In a culture that glorifies busyness, productivity, and accumulation, simplicity offers a counterbalance, a way to strip away excess and focus on what truly matters. Rooted in Buddhist teachings and mindfulness practices, simplicity isn't about deprivation or minimalism for its own sake. It's about creating space for clarity, peace, and joy. In this chapter, we'll explore how embracing simplicity can help you let go of what weighs you down, cultivate deeper presence, and live more intentionally. At its heart, simplicity aligns with the Buddhist principle of non-attachment. Non-attachment doesn't mean renouncing worldly possessions or responsibilities. It means engaging with life without clinging to outcomes, identities, or material wealth. Simplicity takes this idea further by encouraging us to streamline our lives, removing distractions and complications that pull us away from what truly nourishes us. By simplifying, we create room to breathe, think, and feel fully alive. The benefits of simplicity ripple outward, touching every aspect of our existence. Physically, it reduces clutter and chaos, making our environments more serene and functional. Mentally, it clears mental fog, allowing us to focus on priorities rather than getting lost in trivialities. Emotionally, it fosters contentment by shifting our attention from what we lack to what we already have. Spiritually, it opens us to deeper connection with ourselves, others, and the natural world. The philosophy of simplicity in Buddhism. In Buddhism, simplicity is closely tied to the concept of renunciation. Renunciation doesn't mean rejecting pleasure or abandoning worldly pursuits. It means letting go of attachments that cause suffering. The Buddha taught that craving for sensory pleasures, status, and material wealth creates a cycle of dissatisfaction, dukkha. By simplifying our desires and focusing on inner fulfillment, we break free from this cycle and experience true happiness. This philosophy is exemplified in the monastic lifestyle of Buddhist monks and nuns, who live with minimal possessions and dedicate their days to meditation, study, and service. While most of us aren't called to adopt such an austere path, we can draw inspiration from their example. For instance, imagine owning fewer clothes but choosing items that are comfortable, durable, and meaningful. Or envision reducing screen time to spend more moments engaging deeply with loved ones or nature. These small acts of simplification reflect the spirit of renunciation, freeing us from unnecessary burdens. Mindfulness also plays a crucial role in cultivating simplicity. Mindfulness teaches us to notice where complexity arises, whether in our schedules, relationships, or thought patterns, and gently guide ourselves back to essentials. It encourages us to ask, what am I holding on to that no longer serves me? What could I release to make space for peace and purpose? Why simplicity matters in modern life. Our contemporary world bombards us with choices, obligations, and stimuli, leaving many of us feeling overwhelmed and disconnected. We juggle multiple roles, employee, parent, partner, friend, and struggle to keep up with endless demands. Technology, while offering convenience, often fragments our attention and erodes our ability to be present. Consumer culture perpetuates the myth that happiness comes from acquiring more gadgets, clothes, vacations, or achievements. Simplicity counters these pressures by inviting us to slow down, prioritize, and savor the richness of each moment. It reminds us that less can be more, that having fewer commitments allows us to invest more deeply in the ones we choose, and owning fewer things enables us to cherish those we do possess. Simplicity isn't a rejection of progress or ambition, it's a recalibration of values, ensuring that our actions align with what brings genuine fulfillment. Practical ways to embrace simplicity. Cultivating simplicity begins with intentionality. Here are some practical strategies to simplify various aspects of your life. Declutter your physical space. Clutter contributes to stress and distraction, making it harder to relax and focus. Start by decluttering one area at a time, your closet, desk, or kitchen. Ask yourself, do I use this item regularly? Does it bring me joy or serve a purpose? If not, consider donating, recycling, or discarding it. Keep only what supports your well-being and reflects your values. A minimalist approach doesn't mean living in sterile, empty spaces. Instead, curate your environment to include items that inspire calm and connection. For example, display a few cherished photos, plants, or pieces of art rather than filling shelves with random knickknacks. A clean, organized space promotes mental clarity and invites creativity. Streamline your schedule. Overcommitment is a common source of overwhelm. Review your calendar and identify activities that drain your energy or fail to align with your priorities. Politely decline invitations or delegate tasks when possible, leaving room for rest and spontaneity. When planning your day, aim for a balance between productivity and leisure. Include blocks of unscheduled time to recharge, reflect, or simply be. Protect these periods as sacred, resisting the urge to fill them with additional tasks. Remember, doing less can lead to achieving more because you're able to give focused attention to what truly matters. Limit digital distractions. Technology has revolutionized communication and access to information, but it can also fragment our attention and disrupt mindfulness. Set boundaries around screen time by designating tech-free zones or hours. For example, no phones during meals or before bed. Use apps or settings to limit notifications and track usage, ensuring technology serves you rather than controls you. Consider adopting mindful tech habits, such as checking emails only at specific times or setting intentions before browsing social media. When using devices, stay aware of your motivations. Are you seeking connection, entertainment, or escape? Bringing conscious awareness to digital interactions helps prevent mindless scrolling and reinforces healthy boundaries. Simplify your diet. Food is another area where simplicity can enhance well-being. Rather than chasing trendy diets or indulging in overly processed foods, focus on whole, nourishing ingredients. Cook meals from scratch whenever possible, savoring the process as much as the result. Eating mindfully, paying attention to flavors, textures, and sensations, deepens appreciation for the act of nourishing your body. Meal prepping and batch cooking can also simplify busy weeks, reducing decision fatigue and saving time. Stock your pantry with staples like grains, beans, and spices, allowing you to whip up satisfying dishes with minimal effort. Cultivate financial simplicity. Financial stress is a major contributor to anxiety and imbalance. Simplify your finances by tracking expenses, setting realistic budgets, and prioritizing needs over wants. Automate savings and bill payments to reduce administrative burdens and avoid impulse purchases by implementing a waiting period before buying non-essential items. Embrace the philosophy of enough. Recognize that financial security isn't about accumulating wealth indefinitely, but ensuring basic needs are met and pursuing passions aligned with your values. Practicing gratitude for what you already have reinforces this mindset, reducing the temptation to chase material success. Simplify relationships. Healthy relationships thrive on quality, not quantity. Invest time and energy in connections that uplift and support you, and gracefully distance yourself from toxic or draining dynamics. Be honest about your capacity, saying no when necessary to protect your emotional well-being. Deepen existing relationships by practicing active listening, empathy, and vulnerability. Share your authentic self and encourage others to do the same. When conflicts arise, approach them with simplicity, focusing on resolution rather than blame or defensiveness. Create rituals of stillness. Incorporate rituals that promote simplicity and presence into your daily routine. This could include morning meditation, journaling, or a calming bedtime ritual. Choose activities that resonate with you and commit to them consistently, allowing them to anchor your day with tranquility. Even mundane tasks can become opportunities for simplicity and mindfulness. Washing dishes, folding laundry, or watering plants can transform into meditative practices when done with full attention. Focus on the sensations, movements, and rhythms involved, letting go of multitasking or rushing. challenge is in embracing simplicity. While simplicity offers numerous rewards, it's not always easy to implement, especially in a fast-paced, consumer-driven society. Here are some common challenges and strategies for overcoming them. Fear of missing out. FOMO. Simplifying often requires saying no to invitations, opportunities, or trends. To combat FOMO, remind yourself that every choice involves trade-offs. By declining something less meaningful, you create space for experiences that truly enrich your life. Trust that simplicity leads to greater fulfillment in the long run. Social pressure. Friends, family, or colleagues might question your decision to simplify, viewing it as unconventional or restrictive. Stay grounded in your values, remembering that simplicity is a personal journey. Surround yourself with supportive individuals who respect your choices and share your insights to inspire others. Attachment to identity. Letting go of certain roles, possessions, or habits can feel threatening if they're tied to your sense of self. Practice self-compassion, acknowledging that change is part of growth. Reframe simplification as an opportunity to redefine who you are based on authenticity rather than external validation. Perfectionism. Striving for an idealized version of simplicity can backfire, leading to frustration or guilt. Embrace imperfection, recognizing that simplifying is a gradual process. Celebrate small victories and forgive yourself for setbacks along the way. Transformative effects of simplicity. When practiced consistently, simplicity transforms not only your external circumstances but also your internal landscape. It reduces stress by eliminating unnecessary complexity, fostering a sense of calm and control. It enhances focus by directing energy toward meaningful pursuits rather than scattered distractions. And it cultivates gratitude by highlighting the abundance already present in your life. Simplicity also supports the broader theme of letting go. By releasing what's superfluous, whether physical clutter, excessive commitments, or outdated beliefs, we lighten our load and move through life with greater ease. We learn to trust that less is often more, finding freedom in paring down to essentials. Integrating simplicity with other practices. Simplicity complements other mindfulness and Buddhist practices beautifully. For example, combining simplicity with loving-kindness meditation amplifies compassion by reducing ego-driven motives. Instead of seeking validation or status, we extend care purely out of generosity. Mindfulness enhances simplicity by sharpening our awareness of what truly matters. When we're fully present, we notice which activities energize us and which deplete us, guiding us toward intentional choices. Similarly, non-attachment reinforces simplicity by teaching us to hold lightly to possessions, identities, and outcomes, creating space for flow and adaptability. Conclusion. Simplicity is a powerful tool for finding balance and reclaiming peace in a complex world. It invites us to slow down, simplify, and savor the beauty of the present moment. By embracing simplicity, we let go of what weighs us down, whether it's clutter, busyness, or attachment to ideals, and step into a life of clarity, purpose, and joy. As we continue exploring Buddhism, meditation, and mindfulness, let simplicity guide your journey. It will illuminate the path, reminding you that true abundance lies not in having more, but in needing less. Chapter 9. Building a daily practice. Building a daily practice is the cornerstone of integrating Buddhism, mindfulness, and meditation into your life in a sustainable and transformative way. While one-off sessions or sporadic efforts can offer temporary relief, consistency is what truly creates lasting change. A daily practice becomes a ritual, a sacred space where you reconnect with yourself, let go of what weighs you down, and cultivate inner peace. In this chapter, we'll explore how to design a meaningful daily practice tailored to your needs, overcome common obstacles, and sustain motivation over time. By committing to small, intentional actions each day, you lay the foundation for profound growth and well-being. At its core, a daily practice is about creating habits that nurture your mind, body, and spirit. These habits don't need to be elaborate or time-consuming. They simply need to align with your values and support your goals. Whether it's 5 minutes of mindful breathing, journaling your thoughts, or practicing gratitude, every step counts. Over time, these seemingly small actions compound, leading to significant shifts in perspective and behavior. The beauty of a daily practice lies in its flexibility. There's no single right way to structure it. It's deeply personal, shaped by your preferences, schedule, and aspirations. However, there are universal principles and strategies that can help you build a practice that feels fulfilling and sustainable. Let's delve into them now. Why consistency matters. Consistency is key to reaping the benefits of any spiritual or mindfulness practice. Think of it like watering a plant. Occasional bursts of attention won't yield much growth, but steady care over time allows roots to deepen and flowers to bloom. Similarly, regular engagement with practices like meditation, mindfulness, or loving kindness strengthens neural pathways associated with calm, focus, and compassion. Research shows that consistent mindfulness practice can physically alter the brain, increasing grey matter density in areas related to memory, emotional regulation, and empathy. Beyond neuroscience, consistency fosters discipline and resilience. When you commit to showing up for yourself daily, even when motivation wanes, you train your mind to prioritize long-term gains over short-term gratification. This mindset spills over into other areas of life, empowering you to tackle challenges with patience and perseverance. Moreover, a daily practice provides stability during turbulent times. Life is unpredictable, filled with ups and downs that can shake our sense of balance. Having a reliable anchor, a morning meditation, an evening reflection, or a midday pause offers comfort and continuity, reminding us that we have tools to navigate uncertainty. Designing your daily practice. The first step in building a daily practice is clarifying your intentions. Why do you want to incorporate these habits into your life? Are you seeking stress relief, greater self-awareness, improved relationships, or spiritual growth? Identifying your why gives your practice purpose and helps you stay motivated on days when enthusiasm lags. Once you've established your intentions, consider which activities resonate most with you. Here are some foundational practices to include. Mindful breathing, breath awareness, is one of the simplest yet most powerful mindfulness techniques. It grounds you in the present moment, calms the nervous system, and sharpens concentration. To practice, find a quiet spot. Sit comfortably and focus on the sensation of your breath entering and leaving your body. If your mind wanders, gently bring it back to the breath without judgment. Even 2 to 3 minutes can make a difference, though longer sessions, 10, 20 minutes, deepen the benefits. Meditation. Meditation expands on mindful breathing by incorporating specific techniques, such as visualization, mantra repetition, or body scans. Loving kindness meditation, for example, cultivates compassion by directing goodwill toward yourself and others. Guided meditations are excellent for beginners, providing structure and support until you feel confident leading your own sessions. Experiment with different styles to discover what resonates with you. Gratitude practice. As discussed earlier, gratitude shifts your perspective from scarcity to abundance. Incorporate it into your routine by keeping a gratitude journal, reflecting on blessings before bed, or verbally expressing thanks throughout the day. Make it a habit to notice at least one thing you're grateful for upon waking and another before sleeping. Journaling, writing, offers a safe outlet for processing emotions, exploring insights, and setting intentions. Use prompts like, "What am I feeling right now?" or "What lessons did I learn today?" to guide your reflections. Alternatively, use free writing to let thoughts flow uncensored. Journaling doesn't require perfection, just honesty and openness. Movement and embodiment. Physical activity complements mental and emotional practices by connecting you with your body. Yoga, Tai Chi, Qigong, or even mindful walking can enhance flexibility, strength, and presence. Pay attention to how your body feels during movement, using it as an opportunity to release tension and cultivate awareness. Nature. Connection. Spending time outdoors fosters awe, wonder, and grounding. Whether it's tending to houseplants, taking a walk in a park, or gazing at the stars, nature reminds us of our place within the larger web of existence. Integrate outdoor moments into your practice by observing seasonal changes, listening to birdsong, or feeling the earth beneath your feet. Reflection and study, reading spiritual texts, listening to podcasts, or watching videos on topics like Buddhism, mindfulness, or psychology enriches your understanding and inspires action. Dedicate a few minutes each day to absorbing wisdom, then apply what you've learned through contemplation or discussion, structuring your routine. Once you've chosen your activities, organize them into a cohesive routine. Start by identifying windows of time in your day when you can consistently dedicate energy to your practice. Common options include: morning. Begin your day intentionally with rituals that set a positive tone. For example, wake up 15 minutes earlier to meditate, stretch, or write in your journal. Mornings are ideal because they minimize distractions and establish momentum for the hours ahead. Midday. Use breaks to reset and refocus. Take a mindful walk, breathe deeply for a few minutes, or jot down gratitudes. Midday practices combat afternoon slumps and restore clarity. Evening. Wind down with calming activities that promote restful sleep. Reflect on your day, express gratitude, or engage in gentle stretching. Evening routines help process emotions and prepare you for tomorrow. Experiment with combinations of activities to find what works best for you. For instance, your morning might involve meditation and gratitude, while evenings feature journaling and reading. Tailor the duration and intensity based on your schedule. Shorter sessions are better than none at all. Overcoming obstacles. Building a daily practice isn't always smooth sailing. Life's demands, fluctuating motivation, and self-doubt can derail even the best intentions. Here are some strategies to overcome common hurdles. Start small. One of the biggest mistakes people make is aiming too high too soon. Committing to an hour-long meditation session when you're new to the practice sets unrealistic expectations and invites frustration. Instead, begin with manageable increments: 5 minutes of breathing, a page of journaling, or a brief gratitude list. Gradually increase duration as you build confidence and consistency. Create accountability. Accountability boosts adherence by adding external encouragement. Share your goals with a friend, join a meditation group, or track progress in a planner or app. Knowing someone else is aware of your commitment increases accountability and reduces the likelihood of skipping sessions. Embrace imperfection. Perfectionism undermines consistency by fostering guilt when you miss a day or fall short of expectations. Remind yourself that missing a session doesn't negate previous efforts. It's part of the journey. Return to your practice with kindness rather than criticism. Adapt to circumstances. Life inevitably throws curveballs, disrupting routines rather than abandoning your practice altogether. Adapt it to fit changing circumstances. If traveling makes extended meditation impossible, opt for shorter sessions or integrate mindfulness into daily tasks. Flexibility ensures sustainability. Focus on enjoyment. A practice rooted in joy and curiosity is far more likely to stick than one driven by obligation. Choose activities you genuinely enjoy and approach them with playfulness rather than rigidity. Celebrate milestones, savor moments of insight, and allow creativity to guide your exploration. Deepening your practice over time. As your daily practice becomes habitual, look for ways to deepen it. Here are some suggestions. Layer techniques. Combine complementary practices to amplify their effects. For example, pair mindful breathing with loving-kindness meditation, or follow yoga with journaling. Layering creates synergy, enhancing overall impact. Explore new methods. While consistency is crucial, stagnation can breed boredom. Periodically introduce new techniques, or revisit old ones with fresh eyes. Attend workshops, try guided apps, or experiment with advanced meditations like Vipassana or Zen. Set intentions regularly. Revisit your original intentions periodically, adjusting them as needed. Perhaps your initial goal was stress reduction, but now you seek deeper self-understanding. Updating your purpose keeps your practice relevant and inspiring. Engage community. Connecting with like-minded individuals fosters camaraderie and shared learning. Participate in retreats, online forums, or local groups to exchange ideas, celebrate successes, and navigate challenges together. Transformative effects of a daily practice. When nurtured consistently, a daily practice transforms not only individual moments but entire lifetimes. It rewires your brain for positivity, strengthens resilience, and deepens self-awareness. You'll notice subtle shifts, a calmer demeanor, sharper focus, increased empathy, that ripple outward, influencing interactions and decisions. More importantly, a daily practice reinforces the broader theme of letting go. By dedicating time each day to mindfulness, meditation, or gratitude, you release attachments to busyness, perfection, and control. You embrace impermanence, trusting that each moment holds inherent value regardless of outcomes, and you cultivate an enduring sense of peace, knowing that you carry tools for navigating life's uncertainties wherever you go. Conclusion. Building a daily practice is an act of love, a gift you give yourself and ultimately the world. It anchors you in the present, lightens your load, and illuminates the path to fulfillment. As we continue exploring Buddhism, mindfulness, and meditation, let your daily practice serve as both foundation and compass. With patience, persistence, and compassion, you'll discover that true transformation unfolds not in grand gestures, but in the quiet, steadfast rhythm of showing up for yourself each day. Chapter 10. Living lightly, living freely. Living lightly and living freely is the culmination of everything we've explored so far. Letting go of what weighs you down, embracing mindfulness, and cultivating practices rooted in Buddhism and compassion. It's about moving through life with curiosity, grace, and ease, trusting that you have the tools to navigate challenges while remaining open to joy and connection. In this final chapter, we'll delve deeply into what it means to live lightly and freely, how this philosophy can transform your relationship with yourself and the world, and practical ways to embody these principles in your daily life. At its essence, living lightly means engaging with life without clinging too tightly to outcomes, identities, or possessions. It's a way of being that honors impermanence, anicca and non-attachment, non-clinging, recognizing that nothing lasts forever, not success, relationships, health, or even pain. By holding things lightly, we create space for flow, adaptability, and spontaneity. Living freely, on the other hand, arises naturally from this lightness. When we release the burdens of fear, judgment, and resistance, we step into a state of liberation where every moment feels alive with possibility. This approach doesn't mean avoiding responsibility or dismissing the importance of effort. Instead, it invites us to act with purpose while staying unattached to results. Imagine planting a garden. You prepare the soil, sow seeds, water them diligently, and nurture their growth. But beyond that, you trust the process, knowing that some plants will thrive while others won't. You don't force flowers to bloom faster or criticize yourself if weeds appear. Similarly, living lightly and freely involves giving your best to each endeavor without obsessing over perfection or micromanaging outcomes. The philosophy behind living lightly and freely, the roots of this philosophy lie in Buddhist teachings, particularly the concepts of dukkha, suffering caused by attachment, and nirvana, liberation from suffering. Suffering arises when we resist change or cling to what cannot be controlled. Liberation comes when we let go of these attachments, aligning ourselves with the natural rhythms of existence. This alignment isn't passive resignation, it's active participation infused with wisdom and compassion. Mindfulness plays a critical role in bridging theory and practice. Mindfulness teaches us to observe our thoughts, emotions, and behaviors without identifying with them. For instance, instead of saying, "I am anxious," you might notice, "Anxiety has arisen." This subtle shift reduces the weight of difficult experiences, creating distance between you and them. Over time, mindfulness trains you to respond skillfully rather than react impulsively, fostering greater freedom in how you navigate life. Living lightly also aligns with the principle of simplicity discussed earlier. By decluttering your physical space, schedule, and mindset, you reduce distractions and amplify clarity. Simplicity invites you to focus on essentials, prioritizing what truly matters and releasing what no longer serves you. Together, these elements form the foundation of a life lived lightly and freely, a life characterized by presence, authenticity, and joy. Practical ways to live lightly and freely. While the philosophy of living lightly and freely is inspiring, putting it into action requires intentionality. Here are practical strategies to integrate these principles into your daily life. Cultivate presence. Presence is the cornerstone of living lightly and freely. To cultivate it, engage fully with whatever you're doing, whether it's washing dishes, having a conversation, or walking in nature. Notice details, the texture of soap bubbles, the tone of someone's voice, the rustling of leaves. Avoid multitasking, which fragments attention and diminishes depth. When your mind drifts, gently bring it back to the task at hand. Practice non-judgment. Judgment creates heaviness by labeling experiences as good or bad, right or wrong. Living lightly means observing without evaluation. For example, instead of thinking, "This traffic jam is terrible," you might say, "I'm sitting in traffic right now." This neutral stance reduces emotional reactivity and opens you to alternative perspectives. Practice catching judgments and reframing them neutrally. Embrace imperfection. Perfectionism keeps us tethered to rigid standards and stifles creativity. Living freely means accepting flaws in yourself, others, and situations, and seeing beauty in imperfection. When mistakes happen, view them as opportunities for growth rather than failures. Celebrate progress over perfection. Let go of control. Control is an illusion that often leads to frustration and exhaustion. While planning and preparation are valuable, obsessing over details beyond your influence drains energy and limits flexibility. Trust that life unfolds as it should and focus on what you can control, your attitude, actions, and responses. Surrender the rest to the unknown. Simplify decision-making. Overthinking decisions creates unnecessary stress and delays action. Simplify by setting clear criteria and trusting your intuition. For minor choices, use rules of thumb like opting for the first option that meets your needs. Save deeper analysis for significant decisions, but avoid second-guessing once you've committed. Prioritize connection over achievement. Modern culture often equates worth with productivity and achievement. Living lightly flips this narrative, emphasizing relationships, experiences, and inner fulfillment over external validation. Spend time nurturing meaningful connections with loved ones, communities, and the natural world. Share laughter, stories, and moments of vulnerability. These interactions enrich life far more than accolades or material wealth. Engage in playful exploration. Playfulness fosters lightheartedness and creativity. Approach life with a sense of curiosity, experimenting without fear of failure. Try new hobbies, travel to unfamiliar places, or simply dance in your living room. Allow yourself to laugh, make mistakes, and rediscover wonder. Set healthy boundaries. Boundaries are essential for maintaining balance and protecting your energy. Living freely doesn't mean saying yes to everything. It means honoring your limits and communicating them clearly. Politely decline commitments that drain you and invest time in activities that replenish your spirit. Release expectations. Expectations trap us in cycles of disappointment and resentment. Whether it's expecting others to behave a certain way or predicting specific outcomes, clinging to preconceived notions blinds us to reality. Practice approaching situations with openness, allowing events to unfold naturally. Trust that whatever happens holds lessons or opportunities for growth. Celebrate small joys. Happiness isn't reserved for grand achievements or milestones. Living lightly means finding delight in everyday moments, a warm cup of tea, a kind word from a stranger, the sound of rain against the window. Train your mind to notice and savor these micro moments of joy. They add up to a rich tapestry of contentment. Challenges in living lightly and freely. Despite its appeal, living lightly and freely presents challenges, especially in a society that values busyness, achievement, and accumulation. Here are common obstacles and strategies for overcoming them. Fear of uncertainty. Releasing control and embracing impermanence can trigger anxiety about the unknown. Counteract this fear by reminding yourself that uncertainty is inherent to life. Focus on building resilience through mindfulness, gratitude, and self-compassion, trusting that you'll adapt to whatever arises. Social conditioning. We're conditioned to equate success with status, wealth, and productivity. Resist societal pressures by defining success on your own terms. Surround yourself with supportive individuals who share your values and celebrate progress toward personal fulfillment rather than external benchmarks. Guilt and self-criticism. Letting go of perfectionism and embracing imperfection may evoke guilt or self-criticism. Combat these tendencies by practicing loving-kindness meditation, offering yourself encouragement and forgiveness. Remember that everyone struggles. You're not alone. Overwhelm and fatigue. Simplifying life takes effort initially, especially when untangling entrenched habits. Break tasks into manageable steps, tackling one area at a time. Be patient with yourself, acknowledging that transformation is a gradual process. Transformative effects of living lightly and freely. When embraced consistently, living lightly and freely transforms your entire existence. Stress diminishes as you relinquish the need to control everything. Relationships deepen as you communicate authentically and prioritize connection. Creativity flourishes as you embrace playfulness and experimentation. And inner peace blossoms as you align with the ebb and flow of life. This approach supports the broader theme of letting go. By releasing attachments to outcomes, identities, and expectations, you lighten your load and move through life with greater ease. You learn to trust the unfolding of existence, finding freedom in surrender and joy in the present moment. Integrating living lightly and freely with other practices. Living lightly and freely complements all the practices we've explored throughout this journey. Mindfulness enhances presence, enabling you to stay grounded amid chaos. Loving kindness fosters compassion, softening judgments and opening your heart. Gratitude amplifies positivity, shifting your perspective from lack to abundance. Simplicity clears clutter, creating space for clarity and focus. Together, these elements form a holistic framework for living intentionally and authentically. Conclusion: living lightly and freely is not a destination but a lifelong journey. It's a commitment to showing up fully for each moment, releasing what no longer serves you, and embracing the beauty of the here and now. As we conclude this exploration of Buddhism, mindfulness, and meditation, carry these principles forward into your life. Let them guide you toward greater peace, purpose, and joy. Remember, true freedom lies not in escaping challenges, but in facing them with courage, curiosity, and compassion. May you walk lightly, breathe deeply, and embrace the infinite possibilities of the present moment. And so, we arrive at the end of our journey together, a journey through Buddhism, mindfulness, meditation, and the art of letting go. As I reflect on everything we've explored, I'm reminded of how interconnected these teachings are. They all point to one central truth, that peace and fulfillment aren't found outside ourselves, but within. By releasing what weighs us down, whether it's attachments, expectations, or fears, we create space for clarity, compassion, and joy to emerge naturally. If there's one thing I hope you take away from this video, it's this. Letting go isn't about losing something, it's about gaining freedom. Freedom from the stories we tell ourselves about who we should be or what life owes us. Freedom from the endless striving for more, better, faster. And most importantly, freedom to simply be, to exist fully in each moment without judgment or resistance. This path isn't always easy. There will be days when old habits creep back in, when emotions feel overwhelming, or when the weight of the world seems unbearable. But remember, transformation happens not in grand leaps, but in small, consistent steps. Every breath you take mindfully, every act of kindness you extend, every moment of gratitude you acknowledge, all of these contribute to a life lived lightly and freely. As you move forward, I encourage you to approach this work with gentleness and patience. You don't need to overhaul your entire life overnight. Start where you are, using the tools and practices we've discussed to build a foundation that feels authentic and sustainable. Whether it's setting aside 5 minutes each morning for mindful breathing, decluttering a drawer to simplify your space, or pausing during the day to express gratitude, trust that even the smallest actions ripple outward, creating profound change over time. I also want to remind you that you're not alone on this journey. Communities exist all around you, both online and offline, where people gather to share their experiences, insights, and struggles. Reach out, connect, and lean on others when you need support. And if you ever feel stuck or unsure, return to the basics. Breathe, observe, and let go. These simple yet powerful acts can guide you back to center whenever you lose your way. Before we part ways, I'd like to thank you for joining me in the Mindful Zone. Your presence here is a testament to your willingness to grow, learn, and embrace life with greater awareness. If this video resonated with you, I invite you to subscribe to the channel, share it with someone who might benefit, and explore other resources to deepen your practice. Together, we can create a ripple effect of mindfulness and compassion that touches countless lives. Finally, as you step away from this screen and back into your day, carry this intention with you. May you walk lightly, breathe deeply, and live freely. May you find beauty in simplicity, strength in vulnerability, and peace in the present moment. And may you trust that no matter where life takes you, you have everything you need within you to navigate its twists and turns with grace and courage. Until next time, take care, and remember, the journey doesn't end here. It continues with every step you take, every breath you draw, and every heartbeat that reminds you you are alive, you are whole, and you are enough. Thank you, and namaste.